Got it.
You start. You are going.
So, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillah. I would like to thank you actually all for attending with us this session, which is the third part of the 5-part series of Dr. AlSabeeh sessions, Introduction to Islamic Psychology. So on behalf of the ISIP, I would like to welcome you all and thank you for your patience and thank you for giving the time to attend such lectures. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us tawfiq and barakah and to bestow us with His mercy and to let us learn and gain this beautiful knowledge. Ameen. I would also like to first thank Dr. AlSabeeh for giving us the time for this series, which we all benefit from it so much, and we appreciate that there is this vast amount of people that have showed interest also to learn about Islamic psychology. My name is Dina Khattab. I'm part of the ISIP strategic team members, and I would be joining you today as one of the moderators, inshallah. Also, I would like to invite you for a brief introduction about the ISIP in general, which you might be part of it already, but let's have a brief introduction about it for the brothers and sisters who may be new for it. So the International Students of Islamic Psychology, which with the abbreviation ISIP, we are actually an inclusive space designed to connect people with diverse backgrounds interested in Islamic psychology. And when we say diverse backgrounds, we are speaking about diversity in education, in age, in ethnicity, in everything. We have PhD professionals, we have doctors, practitioners, we have students. So it's really a diverse background from every aspect of in these points of views. We aim to disseminate knowledge, share resources, and discuss best practices in a free and accessible manner that can reach everyone who is interested and willing to. It's a platform to enable further development of people's personal and professional interests, studies, and understanding of Islamic psychology within their communities and or countries of origin. So this is actually our mission statement and ISIP, and it's our initiatives that we try with different initiatives to achieve. Our core values are respect, rahma, ihtiram, compassion, rahma, service, khidmah, companionship, sohbah, God consciousness, taqwa, truthfulness, sidq, integrity, al-istiqama, loyalty, wafa, and knowledge, talab al-ilm. As we, from our name, you see, we are students of Islamic psychology. So in this sense of students, we mean that we are all seeking knowledge from PhD professors, from just people who are interested. We are all here because we seek knowledge and we seek to increase our knowledge, which is actually a main mission of human beings and of Muslims in general, to seek always knowledge that brings us closer to the true knowledge and closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we're really happy that you are taking part of this and that you have joined us in this beautiful session that Dr. AlSabeeh is offering to us. We're going to share with you some of the Zoom etiquettes that we're having in our sessions. So Sister Alien, you can go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Sister Dina. Assalamu alaikum. I'm also a member of ISIP, and as a moderator today, I will also be your host. And of course, Zoom etiquettes, it's more of just to be sure, hopefully it's not necessary to intervene. But in general, please keep on mute when not speaking, and no recordings or screenshots. A small practical thing, can you please rename yourself? You have 3 little dots. If you go to the right top of your tile, and you have 3 little dots there, you can press and see rename, and there you can put your first name and your country, so that we all know who we're talking to. For example, I'm Ali from Canada. And so no recordings or screenshots. It will all be recorded, this session, and later on uploaded in our YouTube channel. And we will later on put the YouTube channel link in the chat. So general guidelines, just for the records, of course, no racist, inflammatory, or derogatory comments, please. And if you have any questions, you can always put it during the session in the chat. And if you have any other suggestions or comments for us as an organization, we will give you the link for a feedback form in the chat. And it's very important for us as an organization to keep learning. So please fill in your feedback form. Thank you.
Thank you, sister. Actually, we're going, as we're saying, we are an inclusive space and we're interested. Actually, our main aim is to share knowledge. So we have different channels through which we share the knowledge. And one of them is the WhatsApp groups. So we're going also to post the WhatsApp links for the open ones. If you like to join one of these groups, if you're not members of it yet. We have different initiatives like book clubs or support groups or such sessions. So the means of communication are usually done through the WhatsApp group now until further we have our website that would be launched soon. We also have our YouTube channel where the recordings of the sessions are posted there. So it would be great also if you subscribe to the channels. We're about actually to launch our Clubhouse too, our club on Clubhouse. So this is all actually added to the WhatsApp groups posts. So it would be great if you are part of it, inshallah, so you can follow our initiatives and take part of it. Also, we have our digital library and newsletter, which are all actually, as I'm saying, through the WhatsApp groups, you will have all the news, or through the website, inshallah, when it's launched soon, and we're going to announce this on our groups. So please, if you are not a member yet, so please be with us. Also, we're going to have now our poll. We're going to launch it. So we just have a snapshot of about the participants, from where you are, something about you, why are you here. So if Sister Faria, you can share the poll now so the participants can take part of it. So as we're seeing, we have now the poll. That's you need just to click on your country where you're joining us. A little bit, I'm here today because I am. So just to give us a small snapshot about the audience. And it's actually the answers would be very anonymous, so we'll not know who wrote what. That's great. So we're having people from North America, Europe, Africa, Asia, Middle East, with the majority is from Africa, actually. So let's see, we can have more. So I'm here today because some people are interested in Islamic psychology, currently enrolled or graduated from studies in psychology. So the most people are because they're interested in Islamic psychology. I have attended one of the previous, yes, mashallah, most of you have attended the sessions. So let's wait a couple of seconds. We have 82 of the participants have took part. If anyone wants more to take part in the poll, that would give us also a better view. Okay, so we can end it now. And share the results. Okay, so we have 21% from North America, 7% from Europe, the majority, 50% from Africa, Asia 7%, and 14% from Middle East. I'm here today because I am, the 79% is because interested in Islamic psychology. And most of you actually have, mashallah, attended the series, which is great that you are taking the whole course. I'm sure it's so much beneficial. So Jazakallah khairan for taking part. And as we've reached this point, we would actually like to introduce and welcome Dr. AlSabeeh. And first of all, we want to thank him for the time he gave us for offering this beautiful series. May Allah accept from him and give us knowledge and barakah from this ilm. Dr. AlSabeeh is a former associate professor of psychology at the University of Imam Muhammad ibn al-Saud, Riyadh, KSA, one of the renowned scholars in Islamic psychology in the Arabic world. He is the author of papers and a book that's called تمهيد في التأصيل رؤية في التأصيل الإسلامي لعلم النفس, which is in English, Introduction to Islamic Psychology, a perspective on Islamic rooting of Islamic psychology. So we are really honored that Dr. AlSabeeh is part of our lectures and is giving us this series. May Allah accept it from him. Our session today is the third session in the series, which is about, with the title Conceptualization of Knowledge in Islam and its Postulates. So we're going now to share the presentation and Dr. AlSabeeh can start his session. So just give me a second to share it. Yes, please. Yes, please, Dr. AlSabeeh.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. I am very thankful to the participants and to the international students for Islamic psychology. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you all Jannah. We had before 2 lectures, and we talked in these 2 lectures about Islamic psychology and the meaning, and we mentioned also the importance of a cognitive framework, and we said we need an alternative paradigm or alternative framework, an Islamic framework for science, so that we base our sciences and knowledge, especially in social sciences, including psychology. Today, inshallah, we will speak about this matter. But before that, I start with you with a story, and it is also a hadith. The tribe of Quraysh came to Al-Hussein. Al-Hussein is one of the companions, one of the Sahaba, and they came to him before he became a Muslim. And he is, or he was a very prominent figure in Meccan society. And they said to Al-Hussein, please speak to this man for us on our behalf, for he is mentioning our gods and insulting them. They mean Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Al-Hussein at that time was a mushrik. Al-Hussein went to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and said to him, what is this? What is this that informs us about you that you insult our gods and mention them? Rasulullah did not answer or did not reply to his question, but he threw another question. He said, "Oh Hussein, how many deities do you worship? How many gods do you worship?" Hussein said, "There are 7 on earth and 1 in the sky. أنا أعبد 7 في الأرض وواحدة في السماء." Rasulullah said to him, "If you were harmed, who do you supplicate?" Hussein said, "He who is in the sky." Rasulullah said, "If many perished, who do you supplicate?" He said, "Who is in the heaven?" Rasulullah then said, "He will respond to you alone, and you will involve them with him," meaning that the one who answer your prayer, the one who answer your supplication is in the one in the sky. But how come you worship other than him? And Hussein, after this talk or short talk, became a Muslim. Why? It seems to me the common ground between him and Rasulullah sallallahu the ground between him and Rasulullah is common. His framework or his paradigm is intact, is okay, was not destroyed. Hussein رضي الله عنه, he believed that the one who create, the one who answer prayer is only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is only the God in the sky. And those small deities or small gods do not answer any prayer. This is one factor between him and Rasulullah. The other fact to a result, so that Hussein became a Muslim because the paradigm he has is okay, was not destroyed, although he was a mushrik or polytheist. This is why we emphasize the importance of paradigm, and we emphasize that the paradigm must be independent of any other paradigm, any other paradigms. And we spoke about the paradigms now controlling or common in the social science and the sciences. And this paradigm, as we said, came to us from the West. It's not an Islamic and is not a natural paradigm. The Islamic knowledge, the Islamic knowledge framework has 4 components, and these components we mentioned them before, and we are going, inshallah, to explain and talk about these 4. And today we will talk about the first one. These 4 are perception about knowledge. Second, perception about the human being. Third, the perception of society. Fourth, the perception of the universe and existence. And as I said, we will talk about the first one only. When we talk about knowledge, What kind of knowledge do we speak about? We speak about a knowledge that common for everyone, can be reached by everyone, or a knowledge special for special people. The knowledge we are talking about is that it is general knowledge that can be verified and shared by all reasonable people and can be accessed by searching for it. If the knowledge is not general, we are not talking about it. If you came to us and you said, I have a dream, or I have something in my heart, or I have tuition, or I have vision, this is something special for you. We are not talking about it. We are talking about the knowledge. Anybody can reach it, anybody can get it, and it can be through a method open for all people. As for the special knowledge obtained through visions, intuitions, or inspiration, this is benefited by its owner and does not bind others. It is not considered unless it is validated by revelation or sense. So the reference in that case is revelation or sense. Any cognitive framework must have a research approach that leads to the facts and sometimes not according. So that we have to search about, we have to examine the approach which can lead us to the knowledge. If the approach is okay and can take us to the right thing, the approach is good. But if the approach is not sound, we have to knowledge acquisition, research, and verification is related to all sciences. Deviation in it is dangerous, as it is the cause of emergence or of sects, false religions, and superstitions. Yeah, if you look at the kind of religions, kind of sects, and examine their approach to get knowledge, you will know what I am talking about. Some people will say this is from my heart. Some people say an angel spoke to me. Some people will say I get it from my dream. Some people say this is not a way of getting knowledge. This is not a way of getting knowledge. Why? Because it is not common to all people. You may have a dream, but this is a dream for you. I don't have that dream. But if you talk about observation, anything you can observe it, I can observe it. If you observe it alone and others do not observe it, that means you are mistaken. The method of acquiring knowledge must be clear and disciplined. Its main aim is to help people to be able to learn the truthfulness of the prophets and follow them and learn about what Allah sent them with, so that it is an instinct that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made people with and part of guidance that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave them. Searching for knowledge is part of our nature. The innate research method is a gift from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to people, as indicated by the Quran and Sunnah, not linked to Greek philosophy or one of the pagan civilizations. Some people may say the scientific method or scientific from it's not true. Also, scientific research, scientific method. It is the way we get knowledge. We understand the message of a prophet, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala provide us with this innate to look for knowledge, to get to know the environment around us. Otherwise, we cannot understand the message carried by the messengers. We cannot understand, we cannot get the message carried to us by the messenger from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The true scientific method is the method that leads us to the truth, whether its source is a revelation, observation, or mind. Every method leads to the truth, whether it is based on sense, reason, or transmission, is a scientific method. It is not only that based on sense, no. It is any method that takes us to the truth, whether reason from my aql, or sense, his, or transmission, riwayah, is a scientific method. No contradiction between the facts of the three evidence. The three evidence, the sense, transmission, reason. No contradiction between the facts of the three evidence if they are true and established. No religious reality that contradicts the facts of the mind and what scientists have discovered in their laboratories or in their lab, or discovered in the horizons of the universe, or seen in themselves. Major goal of the correct research method is indication of monotheism, is indication of Tawheed. Major goal of the correct research or right research take us to the monotheism, to discover the monotheism, to discover the Tawheed, the main message of all prophets. Aims to establish human cognitive, the research method aims to establish a human cognitive construct.
Dr. Al-Sabeeh, I'm sorry to disrupt you, but the connection seems to be a little bit, it's coming and going, so the voice is not very clear the past 5 minutes.
I'm sorry for that. This is okay. Now is it clear now? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, that's good. Innate or instinct research method and cognitive framework. Meaning of the innateness of the research is no presuppositions that prevent a person from understanding the environment around him. Innate search is just to observe the environment around you, and you will know it. You will not need a presupposition, some hypothesis, some about in order to understand the environment around you. And you will discover no observation or census or on the scientific method, we are going away from the right search or from the innate search. The research approach is an innate approach. We observe what is around us and learn. Every method that deviates from the innate acquisition has corrupted it and detracted it from its ability to access knowledge.
Dr. Al-Sabeeh, can we, maybe if we switch the camera off, the sound gets better, because it goes and comes many times. So I'm not sure, is it something with the connection or?
Hear me now? I changed the place.
Okay, so inshallah it works. Thank you.
cognitive construct specifications. The cognitive construct has certain specifications, and I want to mention some of them. The purpose of scientific method is to establish a cognitive construct in human mind. The specification of cognitive construct are that, first of all, it must be comprehensive, organizes all human knowledge related to matters of religion and matters of this. Third, regulates knowledge of the testimony alike. Fourth, makes what we in that evidence of the word of the sea. You cannot hear me?
Yeah, actually, there is a bit of echo at the sound. Maybe, would you like to try closing the camera? Maybe the connection gets better.
Okay. Okay. I close the camera. Now.
Okay. Yeah, now it's good. So let's see, inshallah.
Okay, that's good. Okay. That's good. Okay. I repeat what I said. Okay. Purpose of the scientific method is to establish a cognitive construct in the human mind. The specifications of cognitive construct are as follows. First, it must be comprehensive. Second, organizes all human knowledge related to matters of religion and matters of this world. It is not only for matters of this world or matters of sciences. No, it is for the whole life. Regulates knowledge related to the world of the unseen and the world of testimony alike, of the unseen and seen alike. Makes what we observe in the seen world evidence of the world of the unseen and guidance to matters of religion, divinity, and resurrection after death. A proof is required in all. We need proof or evidence, whether it is a matter of religion or matter of this world, or matter unseen or matter of seen world. We have to have the evidence or proof. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala يا أيها الناس قد جاءكم برهان من ربكم وأنزلنا إليكم نورا مبينا. So that proof is required in all. Avoidance of conjecture and whims is required in all. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, O mankind, there has come to you a conclusive proof from your Lord, and we have sent down to you a clear light. Characteristic of Islamic cognitive perception, knowledge is sensory. Knowledge is based on sensory or based on hiss and achieved through senses and is not intuitive. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَاللَّهُ أَخْرَجَكُم مِّن بُطُونِ أُمَّهَاتِكُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ شَيْئًا وَجَعَلَ لَكُمُ السَّمْعَ وَالْأَبْصَارَ وَالْأَفْئِدَةَ لَعَلَّكُمْ تَشْكُرُونَ. And Allah has extracted you from the wombs of your mothers, not knowing a thing. And He made for you hearing and vision and hearts, that perhaps you would be grateful. So we came to this world without knowledge, and we got knowledge through our senses. So the knowledge, one specification, one characteristics of knowledge, that we get it after we are born. It is not something come with us or born with us. According to this verse in Surah Al-Nahl, وَاللَّهُ أَخْرَجَكُم مِّن بُطُونِ أُمَّهَاتِكُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ شَيْئًا وَجَعَلَ لَكُمُ السَّمْعَ وَالْأَبْصَارَ وَالْأَفْئِدَةَ لَعَلَّكُمْ تَشْكُرُونَ. And Allah has extracted you from the wombs of your mother, not knowing a thing, and he made for you hearing and vision and heart, that perhaps you would be grateful. Second, knowledge must be based on correct evidence. Knowledge, whether it is a religious knowledge or scientific knowledge, or knowledge about the unseen or about seen, must be based on correct evidence. Avoid of correct opposition. Knowledge must be based on correct evidence, devoid of correct opposition. Otherwise, it is void or doubtful. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, say, bring your proof if you are truthful. قُلْ هَاتُوا بُرْهَانَكُمْ إِن كُنتُمْ صَادِقِينَ. The correct evidence is broader than the philosophical evidence, and it is every valid and firm evidence, whether it is rational, transmitted, or sensory. We have, as we said before, three kinds of evidence: reason, sense, transmitter. Certainty is not a condition of knowledge, because certainty is a psychological state. Some people, some philosophy said you have to have yaqeen in this information. Yaqeen or certainty is not part or is not character of the information. It is the character of ourselves, of understanding of us, not the information. The piece of information may cause certainty in one person and cause doubt in other, and cause denying in third person. It is according, certainty is a psychological character, not something objective. No, it is something you feel it, something according to your emotion, not according to the evidence. Evidence sometimes may give you certainty. Sometimes you may feel after getting this information certain, and sometimes you do not feel certain, and other person or may have a different feeling, although the information and the evidence is the same. Now we get into knowledge operations. Knowledge operations, the knowledge process consists of two stages: a stage of knowledge acquisition or realization. This is the first stage. Second stage is a stage of knowledge production. The stage of acquisition or getting knowledge, and the stage of production. About this, the first stage of acquisition, we have four pillars: the intellect or the mind or the aql. Second, the sense or الحواس. And third, the perceptible المحسوسات. And the fourth is will, as the will. About the first one, the intellect or the center of sensory perceptions has two functions. وظيفة العقل, the function of intellect are to pay attention or determine what is felt or where to search, and this is the will. The second, the interpretation of sensory perception, and in order to fulfill its nature, it requires his integrity, which prevents him from a correct perception. Second, language, integrity, and adequacy. The third is intelligence. These three things are needed for the mind or for aql. The sense, they must be safe. We need its safety and absence of any impediment, preventing it from reaching the senses. If the sense cannot reach which we want to see or observe, the sense will not work. The sensible, the condition of the appearance of the sensible so that the senses can reach it directly. And the fourth is the will, which is the attention. The second stage, production. The production of knowledge goes through 3 levels. First, the narration stage, and second, the application stage, and fourth is the stage of creativity, which you can get or apply the knowledge into a new paradigm or come with a new theory. But in the first one, just you tell what you memorize, what you narrate what you hear, and in the second you apply the knowledge you get within the paradigm you work on, and you use the new knowledge to support the old knowledge you have. But in the third one, you come with a new paradigm. You create something new using this new knowledge. These 3 levels of knowledge are needed for science. Establishing science required these 3 levels of knowledge. Science is not coherent and has no real existence without its transmission and narrators, and cannot develop and grow if it would miss the second level application. Science would not go to new fields and face scientific dilemma if it misses the third level. So each and people are not equal in their ability. One can narrate, one can create, one can apply, and all these people are needed for science and for establishing civilization. Now I come to the last part about postulates of the Islamic cognitive framework. The first one is about the source of knowledge. What source of knowledge? What are the source of knowledge we have in Islam? In Islam, we have 2 sources. The first one is civilization, is revelation, and the second one is nature, the nature around us. And this source, nature, is common between us and Western science. There is no problem about it. But the difference is the differences in the revelation. And we mean by revelation only Quran and Sunnah, because this is the right revelation, and no other revelation is correct other than Quran and Sunnah. What do we mean by source of knowledge? We mean by source of knowledge is the source which doesn't need any other support. When I say to you, I observe this and the nature, I observe it in the lab, you will not ask for another source beside that. All you need is to come and practice what I practice, either observation or searching the lab to discover what I discover. But if you come to me and said, I watched this, so-and-so told me this information, I said, okay, let us find another source. Another person will come and testify. But you are looking for another source. But when I say this is in Quran and Sunnah, that's enough for you if you are Muslim. When I say this is in nature, I observed in nature according to this operation in lab, that will be enough. Will be enough, and you don't need another source. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, يا أيها الناس قد جاءكم برهان من ربكم وأنزلنا إليكم نورا مبينا. O people, a proof has come to you from your Lord, and we have sent down to you a light revelation that came to the people. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said about the second source, وجعلوا الملائكة الذين هم عباد الرحمن إناثا أشهدوا خلقهم ستكتب شهادتهم ويسألون. And they describe the angels who are servants of the most merciful as females. Did they witness their creation? Their testimony will be recorded and they will be questioned. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, have they witnessed their creation? Which means, have they seen it in the nature? Have they seen it by their senses? No, then their testimony is denied. Function of the mind. Some people will say, what about mind? Is it a source of knowledge beside nature and beside revelation? No. Mind is not a source of knowledge. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَلَقَدْ ذَرَأْنَا لِجَهَنَّمَ كَثِيرًا مِنَ الْجِنِّ وَالْإِنسِ لَهُمْ قُلُوبٌ لَا يَفْقَهُونَ بِهَا وَلَهُمْ أَعْيُنٌ لَا يُبْصِرُونَ بِهَا وَلَهُمْ آذَانٌ لَا يَسْمَعُونَ بِهَا أُولَٰئِكَ كَالْأَنْعَامِ بَلْ هُمْ أَضَلُّ أُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْغَافِلُونَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, and we have certainly created for hell many of the jinn and mankind. They have hearts with which they do not understand. They have eyes with which they do not see, and they have ears with which they do not hear. Those are like livestock, rather they are more astray. It is they who are the headless. In this verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us about the functions of the heart, the function or the function of the mind. Mind and heart here in this verse are the same. Function of the eyes and function of the ear or the senses. About the eyes, he said they do not see, and the ears, he said they do not hear. But about the mind, it said they do not understand. They do not understand. So the function of heart or of the mind is to understand what we can see. But heart does not have another source for knowledge beside the senses. Just the heart or the mind get the information, get the knowledge through the senses. In this verse, the functions of the human senses, organs, and perceptions are mentioned. The heart's function is to understand and deduction from a subject, and from deductions, the rational evidence is formed. This is not the acquisition of new knowledge, but rather the deduction of new holistic meanings from the new knowledge obtained through the senses. As for the eyes and the ears, their function is to discover new sensory objects, which may have become subject of new understanding or deduction. in the previous verse, it seems that the heart's work in acquiring knowledge is limited to making a decision in faith, contemplation, consideration, installation of images, inferences, and correction perception, not in acquiring no knowledge through other than the senses. The means of acquiring knowledge from nature is sensation, as we said, and the means of acquiring knowledge from revelation is the narration or chain of a transmission. But through sensation and through revelation, mind create an evidence, a third evidence, which rational evidence beside the sense evidence and the transmission evidence. What is correct knowledge? Correct knowledge is a correct knowledge is a statement that corresponds to reality. وقال الذين لا يعلمون لو لا يكلمنا الله تأتينا آية كذلك قال الذين من قبلهم مثل قولهم تشابهت قلوبهم قد بينا الآيات لقوم يوقنون. Those who do not know say, why does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala not speak to us, or there come to us a sign? Thus spoke those before them like their words. Their hearts resemble each other. We have shown clearly the signs to people who are certain in faith. SubhanAllah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala denied their testimony, or denied their what they said, because it does not correspond to reality. One may ask, is there any conflict between from what we get from through Quran or from Sunnah? Does it conflict with what we get from science, or does it conflict with what we get from mind? No, there's no conflict. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, we will show them our signs on the horizons and in themselves until it becomes clear to them that it is the truth. Can there be conflict between knowledge and revelation? No. People sometimes get mixed with the theory and postulates or hypotheses. Yes, which we get from religion can conflict with theory or postulates or with hypothesis, but does not conflict with the truth. A theory, we know it can conflict with another theory, but the truth cannot conflict or cannot contradict with another theory. And hypothesis can contradict another hypothesis, but hypothesis, it is not a truth. Postulates, it's not a truth. A theory, it's not a truth. A truth is the fact. We can get in nature and get an revelation, but it is not something we make up as a theory or hypothesis. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, we will show them our signs on the horizons and in themselves until it becomes clear to them that it is the truth. That means people will discover in their labs, will discover in the nature, will discover in themselves something confirm what we reveal to them, not contradict what we revealed. In this verse, there is a directive on watching the sensible things and looking at the horizons of heaven and earth and in ourselves in order to form holistic mental issues. Allah is the God worthy of worship, and the Quran is a truth revealed from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The field of observation is nature or the word of testimony. There is no contradiction between religion and science in explaining the phenomena. The phenomena, if we try to explain any phenomena, scientific approach or scientific paradigm say you have to explain it from inside, from within. If you go explain it from outside, if you say this earthquake is caused by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they will say this is not a scientific explanation. But for us as Muslims, we do not see any contradiction between explanation the phenomena from within or from outside. There is no contradiction between saying this phenomena caused by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or this phenomena caused by certain factors inside the phenomena. And then another one postulates the ultimate knowledge, is to fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. إنما يخشى الله من عباده العلماء. إن الله عزيز غفور. Only among the servants are the scholars who fear God. Indeed, God is mighty of forgiving. And this is very important to make connection between science and religion. Science, through searching yourselves, through searching nature, you will discover the greatness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You will discover the work of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You will discover how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is great and wise and Hakim and Alim subhanahu wa ta'ala. But in science, if you speak about this, you are going outside of the scientific paradigm. In Islam, no, this is something result or something an effect of Islamic state or Islamic paradigm, or it's an effect for or a result for your searching either in nature or on yourself. وجزاكم الله خير وأثابكم الله. صلى الله على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا.
Jazakallah khairan, Dr. Abdullah. We really appreciate it. May Allah accept all your efforts and give you more knowledge, inshallah. And we really appreciate if you have any questions and want to share them with us so that Dr. AlSabeeh can answer them. We have a couple of questions now that we have received, so maybe we can share it now. And if you have more questions, please feel free to write them in the chat box. So one of the questions about the senses, actually, as you've spoken, Dr. Abdullah, that they are the means to the knowledge. So what is our role in the practical life and our daily life towards our senses, and how can we protect them in order to be able to gain more knowledge and to be able to protect the knowledge that we have, especially with the time beings, we have lots of distractions to actually our senses.
No, this is, we have to have taqwa, we have to protect our knowledge. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us guidance where we use our knowledge, where we use our senses. قل المؤمنين يغضوا من أبصارهم وقل المؤمنات يغضوا من أبصارهم. فالله سبحانه وتعالى order us to not look at something not right, to not use our senses in something not mubah, not permissible. And this is this comes with taqwa.
Yes. So taqwa here is as a protection for our senses. Okay, we have another question actually about if you, from today's session, what practical tips we can apply in our daily life. It's one question.
Which practical what?
If there's any practical tips that we can apply in our daily life from today's session. Also, there's another question. When you mentioned, Dr. Abdullah, that certainty is not a condition of knowledge because it is a psychological state. But how do we then understand the usul principle that certainty is not lifted by doubt? This is also one of the questions. Would you like me to read it again, or it's because it's a bit tall?
The question is not clear to me. As I said, this is speak about certainty. I can say it caused fitna in Islamic heritage between متكلمين school or philosophy and between scholars and the reason is that some people thought that certainty is part of knowledge and we inherited this from Greek philosophy. Greek philosophy said certainty comes with mind only, with burhan, with evidence comes from mind. And we cannot rely on evidence or on observation comes from senses. And this caused a lot of argument among the scholars. The right explanation for this is that certainty is not part of knowledge. It is a psychological. It is a psychological aspect, a psychological characters. Some people, one individual man will come to me saying or informing me with some news, and I know this man. He's a trustworthy person. I never experienced with him a lie. So I trust his testimony. Another person will come to me and convey to me another news, but I don't have experience with him. What he said is something not okay. I cannot trust him. So there is I got certainty with the first one, but not get certainty with the second one. Why? This is according to my experience with them. It is not something part of their of the knowledge they conveyed to me. We can speak about this in another lecture or in another time and explain it more, inshallah.
Inshallah. We have another question here from the sister. She's asking, I wonder if a person wants to act more accordingly to Quran and Sunnah, but fails to do so, or keeps falling back in old habits. How could he work on himself to strengthen his knowledge and his understanding?
This is according to be straight with Quran and Sunnah. Any knowledge from Quran and from Sunnah, you need to practice it, and you need to practice it with sincerity. When you are alone, try to remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, try to read Quran, try to pray. because you are alone. Nobody can see you except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Try to practice the private ibadah, the private worship, and you will get taqwa in your heart. Try to remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when you are alone. Try to make sadaqah without telling anybody. Try to practice something private. Then inshallah you will get something in your heart.
Ameen, inshallah. May Allah give us all this taqwa actually in our hearts too. We have another question about the nature, actually, as you mentioned in the last ayahs, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned a lot to encourage people about thinking and doing tafakkur about the nature. So how can we make more usage of nature actually to make us closer to Allah and to benefit from it as a source of knowledge? And also, do you encourage, like, if people plan trips actually that are designed for this as tafakkur and thinking about ayahs?
What is the first one? The first question?
The first question is because you mentioned at the end a couple of the ayahs that where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is inviting people to think about things from the nature and the ayat,
Yes.
So how can we use nature actually and encourage people to use nature as a mean to know about Allah more and to think more about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, rather than just using it as a kind of pleasure or places just for amusement? And also, do you encourage that people design trips that are specially designed for getting to do tafakkur and more knowledge about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that are done with the nature?
As I said in the past question, these ahwal, situation of the heart, does not come through something easy according to an equation, or no, something you have to work on it for more and more and more, and to repeat it and for a long time, and then something will come to your heart. When you look at two persons, something, when he says something amazing, he will say, oh, subhanallah, because he was trained on this. Another person, when he will say, when he sees something amazing, he will say, oh, wow. Why this person just stop at the pleasure state, and that person and the other person go beyond the pleasure state to the creator, to remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when he saw something amazing. This will not come to you by clicking something. No, will come to you by practice. When you see something, you have to make tasbih. When you see something, you have to remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When you see something, you have to remember how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is great. But you have to get from this material thinking and just pleasure life, and remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Yes, Jazakallah khair. So we need to go back to the wisdom behind everything that relates to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So one of the sisters also, she wrote that the ultimate knowledge is to fear Allah, but how does this relate to psychology and mental illnesses that are not always within an individual's control? How do we help our clients without making them feel that they are bad and not pleasing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, without always about focusing on the fear of Allah? A distinction must be made between mentally healthy and mentally unhealthy individuals.
والله يعني mental illness as you know something caused by just psychologically, and something something not psychologically, but it is according to, because there is a problem in the mind, what they call it, psychotic or something. These when you feel anxious, when you feel depressed, or when you feel fear, has feelings, it will help you to remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It will help you by practice. But if you are psychopathic or say not psychopathic, if you have some problem, if the person has some problem in mind, it needs medical treatment, not these things.
Yes, exactly. Barakallah feek, Dr. Sabeeh. One of the sisters actually was asking about your book. Where can she get it?
Well, my book is published in by publisher in Saudi Arabia, and I don't know, probably now it's out of print now, and I hope inshallah soon we will publish it in a new edition, inshallah.
Inshallah, and we'll definitely, if it's published again, we're going to share about it in the group, inshallah. So by having this question, we want to conclude our today's session. We really thank you for being with us and having this time to gain knowledge and to share knowledge. And we'd like to thank Dr. AlSabeeh for this time. May Allah accept all his efforts, and may Allah accept all your efforts. We would like to remind you to please fill in the feedback form, which would be really very useful for us. And we're going to post the channels, the YouTube channel, where you can find all the recordings, and also the WhatsApp group. We also want to remind you that this is part of the bi-weekly series. So we're going to have one. Our next one is on September the 14th. So we're looking forward to have you, inshallah, in our next session too. So barakallahu feekum. May Allah accept all the time and all your efforts. And see you, inshallah, in our next session. Subhanak Allahumma wa bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa ant, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakumullah khair.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله. جزاكم الله خير. بارك الله فيكم. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Abdullah. Thank you.